starter, and they need him to perform well tonight.
Garrettson, one of the 4 impact players we'll certainly keep an eye on, and he will get the ball to JoJo Natson a whole lot. Natson, the leading receiver and the leading rusher in this Aggie attack. What can we expect from Utah State's number 9?
Well, they try to get the ball to Natson as much as they can. So elusive in the open field. He's an electrifying return man. They throw him quick routes, and they hope that he can make people miss. He can turn a 3-yard throw into an 80-yard gain. So BYU will have to be able to tackle in space against Natson. And Darrell Garrettson, this is a very capable quarterback. He's athletic, he's got a big arm, he can make all the throws, and he's a confident player. This is his 2nd start in a row now, and Utah State's hoping he's comfortable in that role tonight.
On the other side, what a tandem here with Taysom Hill and Jamal Williams, both in the top 10 all-time in rushing at BYU.
This is an amazing offense right now to stop because they can do so many things, and they're balanced. BYU averages 230 yards rushing and 219 passing. How would you like to prepare for Taysom Hill if you were a defensive coordinator? Impossible. He can kill you running the football in the run game. He can scramble and cause you problems. And he's throwing the ball very effectively this year, much more accurately than last year. 66% of his passes and averaging 219 yards a game. And then Jamal Williams, he is a physical, exciting running back.
Jake Thompson kicks us off. Adam Hine is deep. It bounces into the end zone and out of it, and BYU will start at the 25-yard line. And our first look at Taysom Hill. Blaney's coming off the bye week. What do you expect from number 4?
Well, I expect him to be sharp. He has been sharp. He's been very good with his fundamentals throwing the football. But where he really kills teams is he makes plays in the run game, and he's so physical. It's so strange to say this about a quarterback, Dave, but he wears a defense down with his physical play running the football.
Utah State ranked 4th in the country in run defense. And Taysom going to throw it on first down. They've been working on the long ball in practice during the bye week. Practice makes perfect. And it's Leslie with the first grab of the night.
And the protection on this is perfect. If you're going to throw the vertical game, your quarterback has to have time to step up in the pocket and set his feet. That offensive line set a perfect pocket for Hill, and that's a great throw right to the outside away from the defender.
Taysom wants some more. Short gain. Back to number 9. Last time we saw number 9, he hopped off the field against Virginia with an ankle sprain. That bye week came at a perfect time for Jordan Leslie. Now with a catch in 33 consecutive games, taking him back to last season and beyond at UTEP. But 2 strikes to Leslie, and BYU's inside the Brady Blue zone at the 18-yard line. Jamal Williams running straight ahead. As mentioned, BYU in the blue zone, presented by Brady Industries. Brady Industries has been a provider of commercial cleaning supplies and equipment throughout the western United States for over 65 years. Brady Industries, clean solutions, a tradition for generations. First down. BYU at the 16-yard line. They have come out firing. Plenty of time for Hill. And he looks for Leslie again. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
And Leslie's become the guy that when things start to close down, that's the receiver that Taysom Hill's most comfortable with. So he's going to find 9, and he's going to get it out there because he trusts him.
Matthews got 3 touchdowns against this defense last year in the route in Logan. He's at the top of your screen. Leslie at the bottom. 2nd down and 10. Hill. Touchdown! Another flying leap! $11 yards for Taysom Hill. He's got 8 rushing touchdowns on the year. Blaine, he looked like he was dead in the backfield, and then wham!
And this is why he just kills you. Zach Vigil, 53 for Utah State. Excellent linebacker. One of the best linebackers in the Mountain West Conference. You just can't gauge his speed. You think you have a good angle on it, and he just runs away from you.
Sampson slips it in there. Now 20 of 20 on the season on extra points. And Taysom Hill comes out and makes a statement. Fires the deep ball to Leslie from 53 yards on the first play from scrimmage. And then he caps the drive with an 11-yard touchdown and one more leap.
But BYU on this scoring drive looked sharp. They'd come right out of the locker room, and there's this sense of electricity in the stadium. Everything's royal blue. It's a Friday night game, and Jim McMahon being honored, all these number 9 jerseys, and BYU comes out on fire.
Our scoring summary presented by Deseret First Credit Union. Deseret First Credit Union shares your values. Proud sponsor of BYU Athletics. That opening drive, 75 yards in 5 plays. Didn't take much time either, and BYU leads Utah State 7-0. The Cougars have won 9 in a row when they've scored first. And a much different start, Blaine, than 2 weeks ago against Virginia when the Cavaliers came out and got the lead and held it right into the third quarter. Andrew Mickelson has the ball on the tee, ready to kick it off. Kennedy Williams, the lead return man for Utah State, is back deep. Strong leg, Mickelson, and it won't come out. Aggies will have it at the 25. Andy Boyce down on the sideline tonight. Andy.
Yeah, we have talked about a lot of injuries tonight. Talked about Chucky Keaton, him being out likely for the season. But they've also lost their defensive star, Kyler Fackrell. He's their leading defensive tackler. He's out for the season with an ACL, as well as Brandon Swindle, a wideout, who's out with an Achilles. So they've had some tough injuries.
There is Darrell Garrettson, a sophomore out of Chandler, Arizona. Went 6-1 as a starter last year. With Keaton out, it is now Garrettson's team to lead the rest of the way with Mountain West Conference play coming up. He's got 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Garrettson with a deep drop. And he too wants the deep ball, but it's well out of bounds. And it'll be 2nd down and 10. BYU faced a Virginia quarterback that threw 58 passes, and they didn't sack him one time. What can we look for defensively for the Cougars tonight?
You would think that they'd want to get after Garrettson and bring some blitzes and try to get there. And Garrettson will try to throw the ball downfield. If you watch Garrettson last season and his starts down the stretch, he's got a big arm. He can throw the ball up the field. He can make all the throws, including the deep comeback. So Utah State's going to have to throw it effectively to stay in this ball game.
On the ground and a good-looking run. Up for 8 yards. Alani Fua making the stop. And it'll be 3rd down and 2. Nick Vigil, a linebacker, in with a rare offensive carry. There's Matt Wells, willing to do anything.
This is so important. Utah State has struggled on third down. 120th out of 125 teams in the country in third down conversion offense so far this season.
On 3rd and 2, they'll run it straight ahead. And Hill, with his extra effort, may have gotten enough. It looks like he did. Fua brought him down. Joe Hill, who's been hampered with injuries, didn't play against Arkansas State 2 weeks ago, had just -4 yards against Idaho State, but he felt good in practice this week, and he gets some early activity and a 1st down for Utah State.
And Hill can help solve some of those third down woes because they really haven't had a feature back. If Hill's healthy, he can be that feature back for Utah State in 3rd and short. Man, it's nice to have a guy like Hill that you're confident in.
Garrettson rolling out again. Throws complete. This will go into BYU territory. A gain of 14. And there's JoJo Natson, junior out of Fort Lauderdale. Plays such a huge role in the success of this Utah State offense.
They just figure out ways to get Natson the ball. He's just 5'7", weighs, if he's lucky, he weighs 150. but he's hard to get a solid hit on. He can just make people miss. Great quickness and elusiveness out in the open field.
New set of downs for Utah State, now to BYU 49. Back-to-back 1st downs for the Aggie offense. And they'll try the corner. That's Robinson. And Robinson's into the secondary. He takes a licking but picks up another 1st down, and the Aggies are on the march to the 29-yard line. 20-yard run for Devontae Robinson out of Delray Beach, Florida. There's a lot of Florida kids on this Utah State team.
And this is just a fly sweep. Utah State runs, and it's almost like you're defending a triple option in that you have to stay assignment sound defensively. You don't know whether they're going to give to the fly sweep, whether they're going to give to the back, or the quarterback's going to pull it out and throw it as he did 2 plays ago.
Short gain for Joe Hill. He'll give him a yard. Bronson Kafusi is back after that high ankle sprain. He missed the last 2 games and a lot of the Texas game where he sustained the injury. And at 6'7", Bronco Mendenhall very happy to have Kafusi back on the field defensively.
Kafusi can help that pass rush a little bit too, Dave. And if he doesn't get to the quarterback, if he stays in that throwing lane, he's awfully hard to get the ball over the top of.
Back to Hill again. He bounces off of Marcus Johnson and sets up 3rd down and short, a gain of 5 for Joe Hill. Lauren Frankham also down working the sideline for us tonight. Lauren.
Some key players back for BYU tonight after some injury on the defensive side, like you said. Bronson Kafusi on the offense, Jordan Leslie, Algie Brown, and Nick Kurtz, who broke his foot during fall camp, but he's suiting up for the first time tonight as a Cougar. Out for tonight is right tackle Brock Stringham. He's out with a shoulder injury. Will probably have to have surgery and be out for the season. Dave?
Bobbled snap on 3rd and 5. It's still loose, and Jordan Johnson has it for BYU. That play unraveled for Darrell Garrettson right at the exchange from his center, and it only got worse from there, and Jordan Johnson comes up with the game's first turnover.
And, you know, when that ball is on the ground, for some reason, that thing is just really hard to pick up. I don't know what it is, but it looked like he was able to recover from the bad snap, and he gets it up, and then he hits it off of his knee, and then is back on the ground again.
Big missed opportunity for Utah State as they've driven into BYU territory. Now the Cougars with the ball. 7-0 lead, 10:22 to go in the opening quarter. 7-0, BYU leading Utah State. There's Chucky Keaton a moment ago. He was lecturing to his quarterbacks, Darrell Garrettson and Craig Harrison. And those 2 young men would be wise to listen to everything he has to say. And there's Garrettson after the turnover. BYU has the ball at the 36-yard line, leading 7-0. A nice drive the Aggies had going there.
And that's part of the problem. They've not been able to finish drives. In the Arkansas State game, they were moving the ball from 20 to 20 and just couldn't finish.
Williams spins up to the 39, a gain of 3. The last time Utah State beat BYU in Provo, the cost of a gallon of gasoline was 63 cents. A Big Mac was 75 cents, and Star Wars was the new movie down at the box office. Wow. 1978. They've lost 17 straight in Provo. Big hit. Taryn Houck gets his hands on the football for the first time, and it's maybe a loss of 2 and set up 3rd down and long for the Cougars.
Jalen Davis closed very quickly from that cornerback position. Just a freshman right out of high school. Started the opener at cornerback as a true freshman. That's the first time in history that an Aggie started as a true freshman at corner.
Matthews just beyond his reach, and he had a step on the defense. And the Cougars will punt the ball away, and Taysom thought he had another touchdown.
Everyone was asking during the bye week. In the summer, we heard about go fast, go hard, and go long. We haven't seen the go long. Well, here in the beginning of this game, we've seen a couple up and over the top. So they certainly worked on that during the bye week.
Scott Arlano leading the country, averaging just over 47 yards a punt. He was a game changer against Virginia. JoJo Natson is back deep for Utah State. Natson fair catch at the 20. Aggies' second offensive possession coming up. That's a 43-yard kick by Arlano. 7-0 BYU. From the 20-yard line, Utah State's second offensive possession. Deep drop by Garrettson, winds up and chucks it deep downfield and incomplete. Sky Pove running alongside Damon Patterson. It'll be 2nd down and 10. I think what Lauren meant to say is that's a pretty cool national championship trophy. That was my interpretation of the silence.
And that's the new one. That's for this new playoff system national championship trophy. I'm excited that I'd still love to see a 16-team playoff, but Hey, I'll take 4 for right now. It's a lot better than BCS, right?
Well, you were on the roster when BYU got their own national championship trophy back in 1984. Second down and 10. Now the Aggies will run it. Hill is looking at royal blue, left, right, and up the middle. And Lonnie Fua leading the pursuit. Drop for a 2-yard loss. It'll be 3rd and long.
BYU, nice job that time of staying solid on the backside. You got to have players on that backside that have force back there and are running that cutback lane to make sure that the running back can't plant that foot and go back against the grain. BYU played it perfectly that time.
Big number 92, Graham Rowley, 280 pounds at 6'4". They're all big up front. 3rd down and 12. Shotgun for Garrettson. Flags come, and this is going to cost the Aggies 5. First penalty of the night. It'll be 3rd and 17. And Garrettson backing up closer to that BYU student section. And it'll get awful noisy for him in just a moment once they break the huddle. Matt Wells with a look of concern. Couldn't get any offense once they got into the red zone in that disappointing loss at Arkansas State 2 weeks ago. And he's behind the 8 ball here in the opening quarter. Down 7-0, looking at 3rd and 17. Garrettson looks over to the sideline. Play clock winding down. Calls for the ball, just does beat it, hands it off. Good pursuit by BYU, and a punting situation is coming up. Strong running by Joe Hill. He got 8 yards, but it'll still be 4th down and long for Utah State.
When it's 3rd and 17, defensively, you're in an alignment where you're thinking pass. And so a run is a change-up call, but just not enough. BYU's team speed on the edges this year is so good that when it seemed like there was a crease, it closed quickly.
Jared Bentrud out of Draper, Utah, from Juan Diego High School. Punts it. Devon Blackman is deep for BYU, and he gets hit. The flags come down. The Aggies have the ball, but BYU will get possession and some penalty yards. And Blackman might think of calling for a fair catch next time.
Patterson trying to time it out that time, thinking that the ball was coming down, but that was very early.
Interference with the opportunity to catch the kick. Number 84 of the kicking team. Penalty will be 15 yards. First down.
There's Patterson getting a lecture from Coach Wells.
And it wasn't like he tried to hold up. He just like, I don't know if he thought, hey, the ball be here any second, but it wasn't there, and he lowered his shoulder. Look at this. He just
drove his helmet into Blackman. Blackman's lucky he has a chin.
Who knows what was going through his head right there? Who knows?
BYU's 3rd offensive possession of the football game. Their first possession, they went down the field quickly, Blaine, and Taysom took it in for the touchdown.
BYU definitely on attack, and this is where it's so difficult to defend BYU. The man on the line of scrimmage, the edge player, is responsible for Jamal Williams. The guy back, the linebacker, Vigil, he's responsible for Taysom Hill. Both guys in a position now as they rally to Taysom Hill. They should be able to make the tackle, and then the defender on the outside has to respect the pitch. Well, guess what? Both guys just weren't fast enough to be able to get to Hill, and at the end, people get so worried about hitting Taysom Hill low because he's so physical. They go low, he jumps right over the top.
Jamal Williams was right over the middle for 6 yards into Aggie territory down near the 45-yard line.
How many times have we seen, Dave, defenders take an angle that they think is a good angle, and Taysom Hill just runs right away from him?
Hill back to pass, and out in the pocket with Green in front of him. First down, tackled right at the marker. And we'll get a new set of downs for BYU. Zach Vigil, he and his brother Nick, the 2 leading tacklers on this Aggie defense. Zach, a senior, pulls down Taysom, but not before Hill picks up a first down. Taysom back to pass. Pressure comes, and he goes down. And it is Kamana Matonga, 6'2", 298, senior out of Maui. And Taysom couldn't get away from him, lost to 7.
And a great job of going upfield for Matonga and then coming back inside it, rushing hard upfield and then swimming back underneath to get to Taysom Hill.
Elvis in the building with the sack. Now flags come down. This is not a good sequence for BYU. This is going to cost them.
Start 55 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Braden Kearsley back from injury and picks up the penalty. Just the 3rd false start on the year for this BYU offensive line. Robert and I saying this week they have made tremendous strides with this group up front. Second down and 22. Hill really picked off, intended for Hauk, and it will be 3rd down and long. Brian Sweet on the coverage for Utah State.
And Sweet, the safety, in underneath coverage in good position. As he closes underneath the ball and gets those hands up, that's just good, solid coverage.
Cougars need to get to the 30. Hill under heavy pressure takes off. No blockers in front of him, and he's tackled by Nick Vigil. And the Cougars will punt it away after getting great field position. BYU stalls out, and the punting unit comes on.
Sacks and penalties will stall a drive.
Utah State this week, Zach Vigil saying they've got to bring pressure. Not only have to bring pressure, they've got to get a hold of Taysom, and they've been able to do that since that opening drive. And now the second punt of the night for Scott Arlano. Matson calls for a fair catch. And it's at the 15-yard line. And the Aggies will get another crack at it. 30-yard punt for Scott Arlano. 5:23 to go in the opening quarter. 7-0 for BYU. And this is a very physical game. And imagine there are a few bodies that will fall over the course of the night. Let's check in with Lauren.
I was just told that in the very first play of the game, Michael Elisa got hit very hard and is out with a concussion, probably out for the rest of the game. Dave?
Elisa has been a surprise at linebacker and had to play a whole lot with Kafusi out. Kafusi's back, and now Elisa is out. Aggies back on the attack. Garrettson pulls it back. And there's the speed of Natson. Flag comes in. They'll tack on 15 more yards after JoJo picks up 20. Dylan Levitt over to get the late hit. And this Aggie offense, they haven't scored tonight, Blaine, but they've had BYU on their heels defensively.
And they'd like
personal foul with a late hit out of bounds. Number 2 of the defense. The penalty is 15 yards from where the play ended. First down.
This Utah State offense likes to utilize that skill set of Natson. They like to give him the ball in a variety of ways. And he's very good at making that first guy miss. So if you're coming up to tackle Natson, you need to break down. You need to play position defense and force him in to help and make sure you make the sure tackle. If you lunge at Natson, he will make you miss.
First down, up to the 45 for the Aggies. Garrettson, that one nearly picked off. Rob Daniel up to defend against Hunter Sharp, and Daniel knocks the ball away. Outstanding cornerback Robertson Daniel, the senior out of Brooklyn, New York. He had 7 solo tackles in this meeting last year up in Logan. There's number 4. Second down and 10 for the Aggies. Lawan Hunt in the backfield for Utah State. Garrettson again. Winds up, throws short. Nice scoop catch. And Hunter Sharp picks up another first down. They move to the 43 of BYU. 12 on the reception and run for Hunter Sharp.
And Sharp, another guy that has the ability to make guys miss. And a key for BYU in this football game to defend this Utah State offense is their ability to tackle in the open field. Because Utah State will give you a steady diet of quick throws that force you to be able to tackle out there on the edges.
This is Hunt right up the middle, inside the 40 to the 39. Gain of 4. Hunt out of Fort Lauderdale, another one of the Floridians. And for the second time here this first quarter, the Aggies are inside the BYU 40. There's Michael Elisa talking with BYU TV's Brian Logan. Elisa, as we're told, out with a concussion. Second down and 6. Garrettson, all kinds of time, and a man open again. You give any quarterback that kind of time, he'll find somebody, and there's Sharp with a 22-yard reception, and the Aggie faithful making some noise.
You give any quarterback that much time, they'll find somebody, but there's not very many guys that'll make that throw. That's a big-time throw. That is a deep, deep out into a small space, and Garrettson shows you he's got some arm strength. That's not an easy throw. And he fits it in there where he needs to.
17-yard line, first down. Utah State, 7-0 BYU here in the opening quarter. Vigil. And that linebacker shows his ability to run with the ball, gets to the 12, picks up 5. Now coming in, number 41 was not figuring in to be in the game plan, at least what was discussed publicly. And he's already got 2 carries here tonight.
Nick Vigil's just a big physical guy that can give you a physical presence that you need at running back. At 6'2", at 230 pounds, the sophomore. I mean, this is a guy that had 8 tackles in the last game against Arkansas State, and he's running the football this week.
Fremont High School product. Second down and 5. BYU brings pressure, and they go right back to Vigil. He bowls his way to a first down at the 6. It's like Refrigerator Perry on a night where Jim McMahon's being honored. And Fua on the tackle, but I'm not sure. I think Vigil may have tackled Fua on the run.
Let's see who got the most of this one. Yeah, I think and he kind of bowls over Levitt at the end of that one as well. Running with some physicalness.
First and goal. This is where Utah State struggled 2 weeks ago at Arkansas State. Right back to Vigil. And BYU waiting for him at the line of scrimmage. No gain. It'll be second down and goal. Now they might give him a yard. Fred Warner out of San Marcos, freshman, making the tackle for BYU. Under 2 minutes to play in this opening quarter. One of the game plans coming in for Utah State, Blaine, was to try to keep the football, much like Virginia did, and keep BYU's offense off the field, much like they're doing. Second down and goal. Garrettson, still all kinds of time. Now the pocket collapses, and he's out of bounds. Lost a yard. Good coverage for BYU in the end zone, but no pressure at all on Garrettson in the backfield. Remington Peck finally ushers him out of bounds. Peck out of Bingham High School in South Jordan, Utah.
And BYU with a good call that time. Expecting pass. They elect to drop off, not come with pressure. And the coverage was outstanding. You credit that sack to a coverage sack.
Third and goal from the 7. More pressure comes. Trouble on the snap. Garrettson to the end zone. Touchdown, Aggies. Devontae Robinson. Very calm and collected. Daryl Garrettson brings Utah State within an extra point from tying the game.
And Daryl Garrettson looks very comfortable, and he should. He played fine in that Arkansas State loss. He was 27 of 46. 46 balls he threw in that game for 268 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, just 1 interception in his first start this season. But he looks even sharper this week, as we mentioned. Now he's had a couple weeks as the guy, and they built this offense now around his skill set, not around Chucky Keaton's. He looks good.
Nick Diaz with the extra point, and we're all tied up at 7 with 50 seconds to go in the first quarter here on BYU TV. Full house here at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. A lot of fans from both sides taking in the ball game. Let's check in with Andy Boyce.
Yeah, the stadium looks great here in the royal blue, and there's not really many navy blue Aggie fans here, but who are here is loud, and they're right behind me. They love this last score, and they are even louder right now, and they're hoping for more.
A lot of Aggie fans, Blaine, aren't too happy when BYU changed the school colors to navy.
Well, they stole them. Come on. BYU's colors are royal blue.
Well,
right?
The royal blue
royal?
and navy and sometimes black.
Yeah, I know. And now with all the uniforms, I mean, what color's Oregon? I don't even know.
Yeah, last night they had nothing to do with green and yellow.
Yeah,
That's
who
all
knows what their colors are? And so, yeah, we've got a white out this year. We've got a navy blue out. No, we don't have a navy blue out. We got a royal blue out.
Royal blue out. Then
we got a black out.
Blackout coming up against
UNLV.
UNLV.
So now, you know, part of the recruiting process now is to sell how many different types of uniforms you had to these guys.
And research shows people will wear navy over royal.
Hey, I'll wear royal. I'll wear it.
There the Aggies happy to tie up this football game at 7 apiece. 50 seconds to go in the opening quarter. There's Adam Hine. We've seen what he can do with an open lane to the end zone. Let's see if he can do it again. They kick away from him into the end zone. That's the best way to stop Adam Hine, is to not let him get started. And the Cougars will have it from the 25-yard line. After a couple of stallouts, Blaine, what does Robert and I set out to do on this drive with BYU's offense?
They really haven't established the run game the way they like to establish the run game typically, and they have been throwing it over the top a little bit, but I'd like to see BYU get now into a rhythm where they get back to some of the short, quick passing game and get that run game established.
There's a short, quick pass. Taryn Houck upended at the 30. Gain of 5.
Well, when you got these big, long, wide receivers like BYU does, they've got a full stable full of these guys. As defensive backs, they're going to come low. They're going to come low. And Taryn Houck gets upended, and now they're going to give him a little bit of a timeout because he looked wobbly after he landed on his head. They're going to let him get off the field.
Second down and 5. Jamal Williams. Run defense is the strength of these Aggies, ranked 4th in the country. They allow just 78 a game. BYU comes in averaging 230.
Yeah, something's got to give there, right? Strength against strength.
That'll end the opening quarter. BYU and Utah State. Cougars are 4-0, ranked 18th in the country. Tied up with the Aggies in the battle for the old wagon wheel. It's 7-7 here on BYU TV.